Margaret Anne, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt.
And I think if the internet's correct anyway, I should be saying happy birthday too. I think you just had a birthday yesterday as we're recording this.
I did. Thank you so much. Yes, I had a very nice birthday yesterday and had some friends over and went out for a nice dinner. So it was a great weekend, a weekend of celebration. So it was
Very
fun. Thank
cool.
you so much. Yeah.
Absolutely, very cool. And obviously, again, according to the calendar and according to my Art the Clown mask, he's wearing his Santa hat. So I mean, it is a Christmas time too, so it's very appropriate. We'll be talking about Terrifier 3, but as you may know, every day is Halloween for us, no matter what the calendar says. So whenever we have the opportunity, I try to start these interviews with a little bit just about the holiday itself. So to begin with, do you celebrate Halloween? And if so, what's your earliest memory of Halloween, the holiday?
Yes, I am big into Halloween. As I would imagine most actors are pretty into Halloween because, right, it's a
Hmm.
chance to dress up as somebody else. So,
Yeah, definitely.
but yeah, always since I was little, we made a big thing of it and trick or treating and Halloween parties and all that. And luckily now I have my own children, so I can like keep it
Yes.
going. And we dress up all the time. Um, my I don't know, earliest Halloween memories. My parents had a Halloween party at our house, and this woman, I think I was only 4, and they had a woman dress up as a witch, and who I didn't know, and she like sat up in like the loft in the house, and like the kids would come up to see her, but she was terrifying. And I just remember that being like really scared on, which usually like we're just kind of like fun, happy Halloween, but that was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, like there's a scary witch up in my house. So I do remember that. But I dressed up as Rainbow Bright one year and all those fun things, dancers. I've never really been anything super scary though for Halloween, which I keep thinking like I do want to like dress up as a witch or something like that. So maybe next year, but we're sort of into like the family costumes. So we're like astronauts or we were Star Wars or, things like that. So,
Oh,
but I
yes.
never miss a Halloween. It's like Halloween and Christmas are my favorite holidays. So
Oh, well, of course we love hearing that, and yeah, we can relate to, especially with being parents and kind of getting to do a lot of the younger stuff again with your own kids, and even more reason not to stop any of it and just to carry it on. And yeah, sometimes we see parents that don't get dressed up. It's like, what are you doing? Like it's the best time you can do the family, like you said, Star Wars. I mean, all the ones you've named. I think we did those at some point as well. So. Yeah, that's a magical time as well.
I know. I think it's a tragedy when all the families don't dress up, or like we'll go to
Yeah,
some parties now and like none of the parents are dressed up, and I'm like, guys, I'm like, come on. And
yeah,
we're all gonna dress up. I don't care if I'm the only one there that's over the age of 10 dressed up. Like I'm gonna dress
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Why not? It's so much fun. It makes it all so much more fun for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we always say, yeah, never too old for trick or treating, never too old for getting dressed up, and obviously celebrating and honoring all those old traditions. And like you mentioned at the top, we have talked to a lot of actors, and we asked them these similar questions, and there is a link that we've discovered to early childhood being fascinated with Halloween and costuming and becoming characters even for a few hours on one night a year, and then ultimately kind of seeing a link down the road that, oh yeah, maybe that was kind of that early creative spark that was getting things going. So to hear you say that, it's not the first time we've seen that link made, and that's obviously very gratifying and interesting. I think to a lot of people that may not realize that that's where it begins sometimes.
Yes, yes, definitely. It's all in that like play and the
Yes,
fantasy of it and being somebody else. And
yeah, and the
it's so fun.
imagination. Yeah.
Right, your imagination. Yes. And
Now,
getting to be whoever you want. You get to pick, right? It's not somebody could tell you you got to be this or that. Like it's your own choice. So
yes.
fun.
Now, I know it would be difficult, but if you had to pick, we always try to ask, what's your favorite costume that you've worn, and then also your favorite candy or treat.
Okay, well, I'll start with candy because that's probably easier. I
Yeah.
mean, I grew up with like Butterfinger,
Yeah.
Baby Ruth. I'm not into candy at all. Like, don't give me a Skittles or a Starburst. Like, forget it. And even my youngest son this year, he's only 4, but he was like going through the baskets at people's house, and if they didn't have any chocolate in there, he was just like, "No, thank you," and he left. Like,
Yeah,
only
he
chocolate for
knows
us.
what he likes. Yeah,
So that's right. So I just want a good old candy bar. And I find that, the mini candies, they're not as tasty as the big candy. If you get like a real big Snickers, like that is way more delicious than those little bites that,
yeah.
people pass out now, which are, it's nice to have little ones, but the really delicious candy bars are the big ones.
Oh yeah.
So keep that in mind. Favorite costume? Ah, da 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 da. I
Were you?
was um I was Cleopatra a couple times, and I don't know why I got interested in that costume. I think I felt like it was like exotic or something, and I got to have cool makeup and
Oh
like a
yeah.
snake on my arm. I thought that was cool. But lately it has been fun. I was Princess Leia last year. I was like
Awesome.
like an 80s fitness instructor, which is also very fun.
Very
The
cool.
astronaut costume is great because that thing you can just put on in a flash. Like it's just a zip up and you're like suddenly
Yeah.
you're all dressed and ready to go. So those costumes have been fun. But like I said, I do want to try like a scary one. So maybe next year I'll do a full like face paint and like some things like that.
There you
I
go.
think I should branch out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Start thinking about it and planning it out now. That's what we do. Never too early to start thinking about next Halloween. And um
That's
and
right.
and and yeah, now that you've been in the world of horror and blood and guts, and part of a scary movie yourself, you've got a little experience in that and little cred in that area, I would think.
I guess so. This is like, my dream come true. I got to be in a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes. And that's one of my favorite things about it, of course. And I was thinking Damien might do something like that, and I didn't know if he would, but yeah, of course, that's one of my personal favorite things about the film is that he does give a significant portion of it still to the Halloween setting, and before shifting into Christmas mode, which I think it's a perfect, like you said, bridge almost. It's kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas, where it works perfect for Halloween, but also great for Christmas. Same can be said for
Yeah,
Terrifier 3, I
just
think.
like it's for all the holidays, really. It could never be wrong. It's so good. Such a great combo of things. And people are always like, "Oh, you need to get one of those Hallmark Christmas." And I'm like, "Oh no, this is way better."
this is this is more at home at this maybe, more
That's right.
fun maybe. Um,
More fun.
going back just a little bit because you have been working in the industry for a while, and I think this is probably your biggest feature film to date though. But was there a point, or when was the point that you knew this is what you wanted to do, as far as just acting on screen, performing on stage, um, it, post Halloween, I guess, but somewhere early, I'm
So
guessing. Um,
yes, well,
but
I started. I mean, I was always always interested in performing. I mean, when I was little, I was like, I'm going to be a rock star. Like I was like Madonna for
yeah,
Halloween too. Like so,
hmm
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a rock star. But so then, really, in like the 5th grade, I got involved with this performing group where I grew up, and we kind of did like variety show musical type things. So then I really started singing and really was focused on musical theater and went to college and studied classical voice and musical theater and then also just acting, and then went to grad school and got a master's in musical theater from NYU, and was continuing to do that and audition in that way, but then got more involved in film and TV with my agent in New York just as things sort of progress, and doing commercials and things too. But then I just seemed to like really get more involved in the film and TV, which I love. I mean, I love doing all of it, but I really enjoy doing movies and television and just acting in that genre and way. And it's so much fun, and every job is different, and it's always a new character and a new project and new people, and I think that's so exciting. It's like how many people have in their regular job that they like get to work with new people, like an entirely new set of people, like all the time. So it's just so much fun, and I'm really happy that I'm able to keep performing and work in all these different sort of ways with acting, whether it's, I mean, I still do some commercials and print modeling, and it's all sort of intertwined and connected, but so it's really fun. But I knew there was never a time that I wanted to do anything but this. So I couldn't even imagine what else I would be doing.
So it really is almost a seamless thing from as early as you can remember, going back to just playing dress up on Halloween to just right into always having no doubt that you were going to be on stage or performing in some way, whether it was Madonna or something else.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's awesome.
That was what I always wanted to do. Yeah. And I think people always saw me, because I started doing that young, not professionally, but I think people always saw me as that. And it was like, oh, that's the girl that sings, or that's the girl that, does these shows or whatever. So I feel like it's always sort of been my identity from when I was very little. So it's nice, I guess, to know what you want to do in your life.
Yes. Oh yeah, I think so, definitely, because a lot of people don't, and a lot of people, but yeah, I think it absolutely is a positive to know that at an early age and be able to follow through, and know where that passion is. It's just always been there, and just a part of you like that. Um, now, when we're talking about Terrifier 3, I mean, I was thinking about it. I mean, it's been so, again, gratifying for us to be able to talk to a lot of your co-stars, but even just everybody from the previous films, and really just covering Art the Clown, just watching as a fan, but also as Halloween Daily News as a media outlet for like over a decade, going back to the anthology of All Hallows Eve, and just talking about Damien's work and stuff. Um, and it's been just so wild, to see this character in these films and the evolution of all of this, culminating this year, of course, with Terrifier 3. But I'm always curious, when you first got this role or got the opportunity to read for this role, how familiar were you? I mean, first of all, I guess, are you a horror fan? And were you at all familiar with the previous films or this character at all? Because again, for
No,
us,
I
this has
wasn't.
been like a 10-year in the making event, right? But I understand that there's a ton of people that are just now learning, oh, this guy's been around in other movies and stuff like
Right, exactly. No, I mean, I was not a horror fan. As I said, I think that witch from when I was 4-year-old probably traumatized me, and I never wanted to see anything scary again. But no, I'm not into scary. I'm not into and death or anything like that. So I didn't know anything about it. But um, I did know that the two previous films had a following, and it was like seemed like it was building, and that
that.
for sure I thought there would be at least a cult following for this third installment. But little did I know that it would like explode. I mean, I think we were all just like, oh my gosh. And then when I had the audition, I
Yes.
auditioned for it. I knew the casting director, but so I auditioned just like normal, made my tape and sent it off. And then, they were like, oh, they really like your tape. They think, after this was right before Christmas last year. And they were like, I think after Christmas, we're going to have some like callbacks and Zoom stuff. So, in between that time, I ran into a friend of mine and her teenage daughters, and she was like, "Oh, this is Margaret Anne. She's an actor." And they're like, "Oh, what are you working on?" I was like, "Well, I might be doing this horror movie, but I don't know." And then they're like, "Well, what's it called?" And I was like, "Oh, well, it's called Terrifier." And her daughters sat up and they go, "You're in Terrifier." And I was like, okay, now I know that I need to
Yeah.
do this job because these girls know exactly what it is. And they are like literally jumping out of their seat about it. So I was like, okay. And then I don't know, after that, then they just offered me the part. And so I just got on this crazy ride that I didn't really know what I was in for. But um, it's been amazing. And I know that because the movie, like you said, people are invested in this movie for all these
Yeah.
years. And now I feel like this is sort of a big, payoff to get this third movie that like people have gone crazy for and is doing so well. And I mean, it's a really good film. I wouldn't have signed on if I had read the script and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
That's what I kept saying. I was like, it's a really good story. So, I think that's to Damien's credit that like, and he wanted that, I know in this third film too, was to sort of, build in some more emotional characters and depth and add the family element, that my family in the movie brings into it. And So I think all that like really worked together to, make a movie that's just not like a slasher film, but it's also, you're rooting for people and you're interested in the characters um and I don't know, it's so wild. And beyond anything I've done before.
Hmm.
But I'm so lucky that I got to be a part of it. And Damien's awesome. The cast is all incredible. We all get along so well. So it's just a great, great experience.
And of course, you play Aunt Jess in the film, and
Yes.
a pretty pivotal role. And again, we've interviewed your co-stars, most recently Antonella, who plays your daughter in
Yes.
it, and you mentioned you're being a mom in real life, of course. Um, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I mean, I'm a parent as well, and you guys, I mean, there's some emotional stuff, and obviously it gets crazy at the end. But talk a little bit about that, about bringing some of your real life maternal self into this role,
Hmm.
because I mean I think that's significant. And again, Damien, like you said, he makes you care about these characters before gutting you, and as you have to watch them be horribly taken out. So if you could talk a
I
little bit
know.
about that.
Of course, of course. Well, Antonella that plays my daughter, she is like the sweetest child in the world. I mean, I can't even say child really. She's like, she's so mature. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of, actors, especially kids, you're kind of in the adult world quickly. But
Hmm.
I mean, she's the sweetest and so smart and such a hard worker and so easy to work with. So I think, we all clicked together immediately, which was great. And um, also with Lauren, and I feel like, my character Jess, she's trying to hold everybody together.
Yeah.
She's trying to support, Sienna and get her through, this time that she's going through. And I kind of told myself it's like maybe Aunt Jess doesn't know all the details, but she knows that it's not good, and
Hmm.
she's trying to help without being overbearing and without intruding, and sort of, I think you have to kind of, a lot of people that have been through a trauma, have to let them heal in their own way with letting them know that you're there for them without
Right.
trying to, control what they're doing. So
Hmm.
so that was sort of important to me. And also, it's the same thing, yes, as a mom, you try to watch out for your kids without telling them what to do all the time, and be a good parent sort of by your example. And um but letting them, they have to learn for themselves and
Hmm.
make mistakes and grow and face their own challenges. And I think all you can do is, be there for them in a lot of ways. So I mean, that was kind of how I looked at Aunt Jess, was that she was good in that way, that she wasn't trying to make anybody follow her agenda, but she was trying to keep everybody going and
Yeah.
and help everybody.
Hmm.
So, that's all helpful. And then, of course, obviously, towards the end, when you're faced with, if your family is in danger, and what are you doing, and what are you trying to do to help save them or save yourself, or it's hard. The end of the film is very hard for everybody, but and
Hmm.
that was a lot of days for me and Lauren, but also Antonella, and to emotionally go through all that is a lot. So
Yeah.
you think about your own life in that situation and what you would be doing and thinking and feeling. So those always come into play for me when you're acting. But so um but I think it's a crazy ending. It's a wild
Yeah.
time, a wild ride. But I have had, people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I felt so bad for your character,"
Hmm.
and that makes me feel good, because it means, that I did my job, and that
Yeah.
people weren't like, "Oh, I'm so glad you were gone."
And some characters every now and then they do get that reaction. It's like a yay, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like you said, your character it is it's a um yeah, it's a painful to watch, and that's saying something in these movies, because they're all painful to watch. but yeah, I think Jess is especially painful for a lot of what you were kind of talking about, the emotional stuff that, and then the investment that we've already, spent this movie getting to know you guys, your characters.
Yeah.
Um, now you had said when you got cast, it was just a quick audition really and casting, and you hadn't seen the films at that time. And did you go back and watch the previous two before filming? I'm just curious.
I didn't
Okay.
I didn't mainly because I felt like Jess didn't know what happened
Right.
before, and I didn't really want to, I don't know, be thinking of that. Because again, I think Aunt Jess is sort of like, she doesn't know the whole story. Really, does anybody besides, Lauren and, or, Sienna and
Hmm.
Jonathan, they're the
Yeah.
two that in this movie that sort of know. So no, that was kind of my choice at that point, was to just come into this as Aunt Jess did, just knowing that bad things had gone on, but not exactly. So no. And also, as I said, I don't like scary movies.
So so maybe a wise choice for you there. But now, did Damien talk to you, or was there a warning that these scenes, especially at the end, like with your character and everything? And again, if you haven't seen the movie, full spoiler warning at this point. I think all of our audience has probably seen it, maybe more than once at this point. So, but anyway,
Yes.
when you're filming your death scene here at the end, and it's just so crazy, and you haven't even watched the previous films, so you don't really have anything to compare it to. Whereas we, the audience, some audiences like, oh well, this is not nearly as gory as that one, or this is a reference to that, or whatever, and you've got none of
I
that.
had nothing.
Um,
I know.
what are you thinking on those days? And then, like you said, while
Oh,
also trying to act the emotions of it all as well. I mean,
I know. Well, I did. I mean, before I signed on to the film, I was like, I need to see the full script to know what's
yeah,
going on exactly, and like, what is my character doing exactly.
okay,
So, I had that, and there were a couple scenes that got changed that were pretty rough. So, so it maybe even turned out better for me. But,
right.
um, yeah. So, but I also knew though, because they flew me to Los Angeles to get the mannequin made of my body to get most of the murdering done too. So I knew to a
Hmm.
point that I was going to be out and the mannequin was going to take over. So, we had conversations about that, and but it was fine. Like, I think because you're there,
Yeah,
when you're watching the movie, that's a totally different experience. But when you're there on set and it's so technical, and
right.
you know it's fine. I mean, it's certainly not scary in the same way that you're watching it, but it can be difficult as an actor. And oh my God, I can't say enough, to like Sam and some of the other actors that have prosthetics on the
Oh
whole
yeah,
day. And I mean, that is like a whole other wow, how they can even work and survive all just the time and the makeup from getting it on in the morning to getting it off in the evening. I mean, it's so much. So I felt lucky that I didn't have to take on all of that. But um yeah, I don't know. I just kind of knew. I mean, listen, you sign on to all kind of acting jobs and movies, and you don't know what's going to happen when you get on the on the
yeah.
set. But I feel like I just had confidence that it was all going to be fine, based on just conversations with Damien. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I wasn't really that worried about it. Maybe I could have been more worried about it, but I thought it was going to be fine. But it's amazing. But again, I felt like my heavy lifting was nothing compared to what some other characters had to do. So I give kudos to all of them for their hard work in really rough circumstances. And it's certainly not easy. Certainly not easy.
When you were filming that scene, was that the first time that you saw Samantha and David in their full makeup and in character like that?
Yes, that was the only time I saw. I don't
I
think
guess
I
so. Yeah.
on set without that, because they would come, to set earlier than me to get everything on. And then when I was there, they were like in full makeup and costume the whole day. I never saw David not dressed as Art, never,
Yeah.
until whatever the premiere, I think. And then same with Sam, and she, I mean, oh my God, she can't even see. She's got like one eye covered and the other eye has a contact. It's like a pinhole that she's looking through. And I'm like, I'm right here. Can you see me? So, I mean, that's wild, crazy. But yeah, so I never saw them. But in between scenes, we're just chatting like
Right.
normal, and that's how you sort of you just get used to the weirdness of it, and it's fine. But I mean, they're awesome to get through all that, those long days and all that crazy makeup and stuff. It's really impressive.
So there was no thoughts of what have I gotten myself into seeing these two characters and all this carnage. It was just because again, talking to them, they both sound like you said, as soon as it's cut, and I know David, as soon as it's cut, they just snap right out of it, and everybody's joking around. So I guess
Yeah. No,
it's
it's all good. No, I mean, I knew what I was getting into. I knew what the films were and
right.
what was going to be happening. So it wasn't like I showed up unaware.
Right.
But I certainly knew what was going to happen to my character, like I said. And then since I had the mannequin made and all that, I knew I had enough to know where things are going to be going on and what was going to happen. But I did not watch anything that they were doing to the mannequin. I didn't watch. Like I would see parts of it on the monitor, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" And I would just like turn away and not look, because you have like crew members that are like doing stuff to your mannequin, which looks like you, and they're like putting things in your mouth, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. So no, I didn't watch any of that, but
that's got to be, that's got to be a surreal experience. And I do remember you shared a Instagram video of what you're talking about. I remember you like it was the monitor like you're talking about, and you were looking away, and so that's literally what you were doing while they were doing everything with the mannequin. You were there on set if they needed you, but not watching it. Now,
exactly.
Even to this point, have you watched that sequence at all? Even still,
nope. I've watched it up to the point where they start to murder me, and then I haven't seen anymore. And by accident, I saw somebody had like posted some little piece of a clip on Instagram, and I saw like some blood coming out the side of my mouth, like by accident for like a second, and I was like, no. And I was like, I don't think I should watch that. I don't think I should watch it. Not good for me. So no, I haven't watched it. Maybe one day I will. But no, not right now. No need to have nightmares. Why?
Well, and I think it gave plenty of audience members nightmares too. I'm sure. But again, that's a credit to you and the mannequin and to everybody else's work, I think. Now I've got to ask. You mentioned that originally in the script there was even more, or something even worse. Can you tell us what that was, or what you remember?
Well, I guess I can tell you. There was a scene that Damien cut out because I think it was similar to something that had happened in some other movie, but it was basically when my husband gets killed, Uncle Greg gets killed, that me and Gabby, Antonella, and Sienna, that we're sitting around the table and we're like eating pieces of his face and stuff. And I was like, ugh. So we didn't have to do that. They changed that. I was like,
okay.
I was like, thank you. It's like that doesn't sound good. If you have to actually eat something that's supposed to be another person, I don't think I want to do
that. So, like you said,
oh, they changed that scene. Shoot, like bad.
Yeah. Wow. And again, I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff that was in there at different points and everything. But was there anything else just on that subject? I'm curious that either was shot that didn't make the final cut, or that was originally going to be but was just never shot for whatever reason.
There was, as far as the scenes I am in, there was maybe one tiny little scene, I think, where I'm just talking to I think Sienna in the bed. I mean, it was literally like a 5-line scene, so it did not matter that it wasn't there. But I think Damien really was so, I mean, he wrote the movie, he's editing the movie, he's directing and shooting the thing. Like, he knows exactly what he wants and what he wants, how he wants each scene to go, what shots he's going to use and keep because we would be shooting and be like, oh, I think we need to do this. He's like, I don't
Mhm.
need that. We're going to edit out of it and we're going to cut to this and blah blah blah. So I think because he was so specific with the film, there's not much that got changed or left out once we started going.
Mhm.
Because I think he just has in his head how the movie is going to be. So no, like I said, I think maybe there's a tiny scene that they dropped from us, which had no consequence at all. So that was it, I think. But yeah, he's just got the whole movie like I think rolling in his brain already.
Mhm.
So he's shooting it as he's seeing it and knows what he needs and doesn't need. And
Mhm.
um yeah, so no, everything's there as far as I know.
I
It's cool
I like
though.
that efficiency, and I like that he's got that vision, like you said. Like like I think that most of the best filmmakers do. They don't waste a lot of time, shooting a ton of stuff when they already know in their head they're not going to need it. Um,
Yeah.
and it's the more unsure filmmakers, like myself. If I'm shooting something, I'm going to do 15 different takes just to be safe because I'm not that sure how I'm going to edit it later. But I wish I
Yeah.
was and could save a lot of time and money that way. But yeah, that's cool to hear that he is so got it editing in his head basically as we're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, I mean, he would
Um,
go home and like edit at night, like edit what we shot in the day, like or he's doing
yeah.
some like on set, like he would show me scenes from like a couple days
Mm.
before from other people that he's like already edited on his phone. I'm like, are
Oh
you
man.
sleeping? When do you sleep, Damien? Do you sleep? He was like, meh,
Wow.
maybe, maybe not. Yeah,
Ah man.
so hardworking, every second. Yeah.
Now, I imagine that the death scene was that the most challenging part of the shoot for you, or was there something else that was more
Uh,
challenging than
It
that?
was just because those scenes, I mean, they're longer-ish scenes, but they take a
Yeah.
long time to shoot because of, all the technical aspects of what's
Yeah.
going on. And so that is just tiring just because you're emotionally in this same state for, 3, 4, 5 days, depending what's going on. So,
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing about that. But I mean, I loved all my other scenes were really just us and the family and,
Hmm.
our scene at the dinner table, which ultimately, Sienna ends up seeing her bloody friend across the way.
Oh
But like
yeah.
that was,
The
it's
pasteurized
fun to shoot.
pasteurized.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that was super fun to shoot. And,
Hmm.
we all got along so great. Bryce that plays, my husband. And,
Hmm.
so all those scenes were like fun and easy and fun. And I mean, even, the big scene at the end, we still had fun, but it's, it's
Yeah.
just, it's just a lot to like keep in that. And, Lauren had to do it even more days than I did. And
Yeah.
especially, she gets in her big fight scenes and all that. That's so much for her. So yeah, that's just the hardest just because it takes a long time, really.
Hmm.
Um, but it was all fun. It was all fun. Everything was good.
What was if you can pick one? What was your favorite memory from that set?
Uh, it was probably, I mean, it was maybe that day that we did the pass the rice scene because
Yeah.
we were all there together. I think that was probably, I mean, there's other scenes we're all in sort of, but that was like the bigger scene that we're all sort of connecting as a
Hmm.
family and talking. Um, so that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I did enjoy that day. That's probably it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Um, Now you said you've not watched your character's death scene, but you watched the rest of the film up to that point since
Well,
it's
I
come out, I guess,
watched
or
in
at the
the
premiere.
well, we were all at the premiere, yeah, and I was
Okay.
like, how am I going to sit through this premiere? But I did, but I closed my eyes a lot. I'm going to tell you, I did.
Yeah.
So I would watch like the acting scenes, and then I would kind of be like
When the kills.
one eye, but because I know the script, so I know what's happening. But
Right.
also, on those other days, like I'm not on the set when those other scenes are shooting, so I haven't seen them. So
Hmm.
I mean, it's just as scary for me to watch it. So I'm like, oh my God. So I don't know. No, I've seen bits and pieces, mainly all the acting, not a
Yeah.
lot of the murder. Yes, I know, but that's just the truth. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, it's certainly not for everybody, and I think anybody who loves the films is the first to say, yeah, they're not for everybody. Go into these with a warning, because I mean there's horror films and then there's Terrifier films, and they're kind of in
Yeah.
their own category in some ways. Which again is a credit and I mean that in all the best ways, and fans know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, when you did watch what you watched for the first time, were I mean, because now you know a little bit that there is a fan base, obviously,
Hmm.
and that fans are excited, and but it hadn't come out quite yet, and you're seeing it, and you still haven't seen the others, and but you're kind of seeing it for the first time. What was your thinking at the time? Was it that okay, this is going to have some success, or what?
Well, I mean, I still thought it would just have success in its own like
Yeah,
universe that it's in, but not that it would have this like, really national and foreign domestic like wild crazy success that it's had. But I was like, I understand why people love these movies now. Like,
yeah,
I see it because and just like you said, like Damien's basically created his own like genre almost of like, this.
yeah.
It's funny, it's horror, it's slasher, it's real story and characters, and so it's its own world, and it's great. It's that's why people love it, because like it's not taking itself too seriously, but it's also saying things. I mean, it's just a real combo of all that stuff, and I think
Hmm.
that's what draws people to it. And I mean, I totally get why they like it. And like I said, I feel like it's done really well, and the story's really good, and
Hmm.
you care about the characters, and even the characters that are not on screen for very long before they get killed. Like you're still like excited about them, and um, it's just so good. So I think that's really exciting. And like, the box office lately is not a great place for a movie to be,
Yeah.
sitting. So the fact that this movie had such a draw and like people showing up for it, I mean, that's amazing. I just feel like so happy to be part of it. I mean, I have more people telling me they've, gone to see this movie, like older, friends of my parents and stuff,
Hmm.
and they're like, we're gonna go see your movie, and I'm like, I don't know if you should go see it,
Yeah.
but I had like my high school gym teachers went to see it, my basketball coach, like,
Hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, yeah, I cannot believe that y'all went and saw this movie, but they were like, wow, but it's just crazy. And then I went to my first convention in
Yeah.
Manchester, England a few weeks ago, and just to, that was my first time to like see all those people that are
That's cool.
so invested in all these movies and invested in actors and films from 20, 30 years ago. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. So it's a huge group of people that love all this. So I mean, I couldn't be more happy just for the film and everybody and Damien, and like I said, I knew it was like building in its success, but to see all this happen, I don't know if it was like the perfect storm of when it came out, and
Hmm.
I don't know, it's awesome. So very happy and grateful just to be involved. But I totally, I get why people love it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll build more horror like stamina to like watch maybe some more. I'll like start little pieces, but I get it.
Well, they're not always as visceral and as gory as Damien's style. There's different
True.
tiers to that, of course. This is
Okay, maybe I should start.
on the most extreme tier, I think. There are different tiers,
Okay, okay.
but yes, an early kind of baptism in blood in a way, just seeing what you've already seen and been a part of, I think, in a way. Um, but yes, there's many different levels. And I was going to ask you about that too. You mentioned that conventions and meeting fans kind of for the first time, because I think that will be and Samantha and David, they already know about it well, and for like you and Antonella, I think it's going to be a whole new thing for you guys. We get out to some conventions whenever we can, and again, we've met some people. We just saw David actually opening weekend of the film. He was at a convention in Virginia, and we were there, and it was just really cool to be there, just to see him. I mean, we had met him before, but to be there on opening weekend of the film, as it's
Hmm.
breaking news that it's number one at the box office, which, I mean, I knew, like you knew, it was going to be huge for us fans and for horror, and but I don't think anybody could have predicted that it was going to be number one at the box office. I mean, nationally, and just, this little indie that could, basically, and here it is all of
Right.
a sudden, and it's such a historic thing, and again, we were there at the convention, and there's all the Art the Clowns walking around, all the pale girls, the Vickies. um, and I'm sure you saw some of that at your first convention appearance, and it's only beginning, like I said,
Yes.
for you. Um, so, I mean, have you thought about that, or maybe it was at the convention that it's, hasn't hit home yet, that this is a major horror legacy franchise, that it's still early days for it, but it's already one that seems like it's going to be around for a long time. Like these characters, these movies, they're going to get rewatched every Halloween, every Christmas, every, just constantly finding new audiences. And even in pop culture, I've talked to some of your co-stars about this, because this year in particular, 2024, Terrifier 3 is coming out, but at the same time, Spirit Halloween has an entire Art the Clown section in their stores this year. There's stuff at like Walmart now. I got a
Hmm.
Christmas ornament from the Five Below store just a few weeks ago in Art the Clown at Five Below. It's like, what world are we living in? And but like you said, maybe it was a perfect storm, maybe it was a perfect plan. I don't know, but art is everywhere, and now you're a part of that. So has that really begun to set in with you, or not? That this is, something that people like me are probably going to want to talk to you about on a regular basis now for a while.
Yeah, well, I was just like, I can't believe like this is the movie now. Like people are gonna know me more from this movie than maybe anything else I've, done so far. It's pretty amazing. But like I said, I could see at those conventions when, people are coming back to see these characters from years and years ago. And,
Yes.
these people are 20 something years old now. So they're watching a film, that their parents probably watched, and
Yep.
they're still loving it and like lining up for hours to meet these actors and, get autographs. And um that's crazy. But you realize how movies like, they're become a part of your history and for me
Mm-hmm.
it's like the Karate Kid and
Yeah.
Goonies and
Right.
movies like that. It's like your childhood, and you grow up with that. So to think that there'll be like generations of people growing up with Art the Clown. I mean, I think anytime you have a movie with like a you know a central character like that that's so identifiable, they kind of live on in their own
Mm-hmm.
magical way
Yeah.
through many years. So I think that's pretty awesome. But yeah, people at at the conventions, they bring you the masks and they bring you posters and skateboards and all kind of things to sign. But and I'll sign stuff that like they've taken to other conventions and my other cast members have already
Mm-hmm.
signed, and I'm like, I feel like it's like a little like message in a bottle like floating around the world
Yes.
that we're all sort of signing together. So it makes me happy to see that. But um, I know. I think, yeah, I mean, once you're in like stores, if you're in the Walmart in the spirit of Halloween, like the whole world is getting that. So,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy, but I just didn't think that it was such a majority of people as much as it is. So,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. So I'm excited. I'm going to another convention end of January. I believe it's called CreepyCon in California.
Very
And
cool.
then two more coming up. So I'll keep people posted on that on my Instagram. But yeah, so I'm excited. It's such a fun experience, and just to see people that appreciate and love your work or these films or whatever is it's awesome. So I'm very happy about it.
Yes. Well, you should be, and definitely, and yeah, that is awesome to hear that you're going to be having more upcoming appearances. I was going to ask about that, and that is great to hear. And yeah, we'll put a link to your Instagram down in the description and all that, so people can follow you and stay up to date on upcoming appearances. because it is fun. I mean, we discovered conventions. We always say kind of later than we wish we had. I wish I had started going earlier, but over a decade ago, we went to our first one, and it was. I always tell people it's going to change your life just as a fan, because you're going to become addicted and you're going to want to go because it is such a cool thing. And now through Halloween Daily News, I've gotten to talk to a lot of people that, like yourself, we talked to them right around the release of their first kind of major genre event that's going to catapult them into now you're part of the Halloween franchise or the Scream franchise or the Terrifier franchise, and here it goes. This is going to be a new life for you, in some ways, a new part of your life.
Yeah.
So that is cool for us to hear as fans. I think that you're enjoying it as well, and really understand, even though you might not be a horror fan, like some of us are, but you get it. You still understand, where we're all coming from with it, and I think it's just again just the beginning. You're gonna see, well, obviously Art the Clown, but yeah, you're gonna see the whole family of cosplayers, because they can do Sienna now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Jess, I'm sure she'll be
I did
thrown in
see
there.
I know there was somebody at a convention in I think Orlando, and they Mason, who's in the cast,
Oh yeah.
he sent a
Mhm.
picture of somebody that had like a group of us dressed up, but my character was sitting in a chair and had the tube in my mouth and the rat and like all this blood, and I was like, yes.
Yes,
I'm like, I love it.
that's
Like,
what I was gonna say.
amazing.
It's
Nobody's brought me a rat to sign yet or anything, but I'm waiting. I know it's coming. That
oh,
day
it's
is
coming.
coming.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know.
You know
I
it.
know.
Yeah, yeah, you know it. And I was gonna say, yeah, it's only a matter of time. But yes, it's already happened, so it's gonna keep happening. But yeah, I mean that Damien does these beautifully horrifying tableaus of death, and but yeah, these cosplayers, they're going to recreate all of them, and it's awesome to see, when you see it up close. So it's very cool to hear you say that you're enjoying it, and
I
like
love
seeing
it.
it
I love
and have a good sense of humor about it, and just because yeah, it really is just all coming from a place of love, and we've met so many just like-minded fans and cosplayers, and again, to be able to go behind the scenes at the same time and talk to so many of you guys. So whenever we hear that it's a kind of a mutual love fest, it just makes it all even more worth it, and worthwhile, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. So fun. I love seeing people come out, and I mean,
Yeah,
we actors wouldn't be here without people coming to watch your
yeah,
stuff. So we're all grateful. You're right. It's all about the love and the energy
yes.
coming back and forth. So it's great fun. So I'm super happy to meet fans. So I hope more people will come out and see me.
I'm sure they will, absolutely. And again, we'll look forward to it, and I'm sure we'll connect in person at some point at one of those events.
Yeah.
If whenever, because you're East Coast based, I believe, and so we get out to some East Coast. We get out to West Coast every now and then, but yeah, I'm sure it's just a matter of time, and we'll be there, and you'll see us. You'll know us by our cameras and our Halloween gear. My
Awesome.
wife is usually dressed as the Halloween queen with her Halloween dresses, so you'll see us
Oh my
coming a
gosh.
mile away.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait.
Um, are there any upcoming projects that you can talk about, or would like to plug, while we're here, that your fans and our audience can look forward to seeing you in now?
I know. Well, I'm just auditioning for some new things right now,
Okay,
so nothing that I can confirm at the
okay,
moment, but hopefully something soon. And like I said, I'll be at this Creepy Con in Ontario, California, end of January, and then two other conventions coming up in Ohio and Chicago. So
very cool.
I'll keep those up on my Instagram, and people can find all that. So yeah, but hopefully more good things to come. But I'm excited, and Terrifier is going to be back in the theaters Christmas Eve, Christmas
Yes,
Day. So if you want to go after you have your Christmas turkey with your
yes,
family, or after you've been with your family all day and you
mm-hmm.
can't stand it anymore, then you can
Yes,
go and watch a movie
that's it.
and relax. Is there anything relaxing about this movie? I don't know. Some people
I
find it very relaxing. They love to go. It's making them
Yeah,
happy. So. That's the
as weird as it is. Yeah, it'll be like a comfort viewing for some people, I think. um, like you said,
right.
and for others, yes, maybe to get out some aggression in a more positive way. Just go and live vicariously through Art and Vicky,
That's
and
right.
just get out your aggression that way, and then you can go back recharged
It's
um,
all good.
to the family. But yeah, it sounds like a plan to me. That's
Yeah,
that's the best way to spend Christmas. Um,
good.
well, this has been awesome, and again, I just can't thank you enough for hanging out with us today. This has been so cool. Talking to you, getting all of these stories, and just I don't think it's an understatement. I've said it before here, but Terrifier 3 to me, it is the horror event of the year of 2024, and I feel like even just fans of the genre, even if it's not their total cup of tea, have to recognize that this was the event that, I mean, you're going to see studios. I've said it before, but studios are going to put out unrated movies now and try the test the waters and because of this, and I guarantee it's going to happen. And it's just it's a success story, but it's really been cool. And it's been cool for us, me on a personal level as a fan, but just us as HDN to be able to cover this and follow it and talk to you guys and get all these stories as it's all happening. So again, this just means the world to us, and we can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me on, and I'm so happy that fans are enjoying it, and happy to talk anytime. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we'll do it again. You're welcome here anytime. And we'll look forward to that spooky costume
Okay,
next Halloween.
that's right. I'm gonna work
Just a
on it
little bit scarier.
a
It doesn't
little.
have to be doesn't have to be Terrifier necessarily, but then again,
Okay,
you do know people if
I
you need a
do.
hand with that.
That's
But
exactly
yeah,
it.
this has been great, and we'll look forward to that. And even though the calendar again says it's Christmas time, yeah, Merry Christmas and all that, but every day is
Right.
Halloween for us. So we always
Yes.
have to wrap up by wishing you a very happy Halloween.
Thank you so much, Matt. Happy Halloween to you too.